clash of semi-realistic elements in Rinascita. Why Wuthering waves should stick to a fully stylized aesthetic. Hey everyone, I love Wuthering waves. I've been playing since its release, and it never ceases to amaze me. But as much as I enjoy exploring its world and appreciating its visuals and graphics, there are a few details that kind of mess with my brain. Now, before you get the wrong idea, this isn't a hate video. I'm not here to harshly criticize the game. As an art student who loves concept art and character design, I just want to share my thoughts on something that caught my attention in Wuthering Waves' world design. Let's talk about Rinascita's semi-realism. Rinascita's environment leans into semi-realism, using high-resolution textures and physically accurate materials. Sounds good, right? But here's where it struggles. Consistency. The game uses photo-scanned grass textures projected onto surfaces, especially boulders. And that's where things get weird. Let's look at this. While the rock material follows naturalistic shading, the photo-scanned grass textures are just mapped onto uneven surfaces. And without proper blending, it can look, well, a little off, especially when there's no actual 3D grass around it. From some angles, it looks okay. But sometimes, when I look at these textures, they kind of resemble worms, dead insects, or even deep cuts and holes. And maybe it's just me, but it gives me slight trypophobia vibes. The issue here is an uncanny visual disconnect. The game aims for realism, but the execution actually breaks immersion instead of enhancing it. Huanglong's stylized approach just works better. Now let's contrast this with Huanglong's environment. The boulders here look like they use a hand-painted texture approach, giving them an illustrated concept art-like appearance. I'm not sure if they're actually hand-painted, but they definitely feel more artistic compared to Rinascita's boulders. This fits into non-photorealistic rendering (NPR), where visual appeal is prioritized over strict realism. And you know what? It just works. Unlike semi-realistic textures that can look strange from certain perspectives, stylized designs hold up no matter where you view them from. The soft color blending, the lack of excessive detail, and the cohesive art direction make the world feel timeless, even with lower texture resolution. Overall, I prefer how Huanglong's world is designed and rendered. That's why I spend most of my time exploring there. The meadows, the grass, the textures of the entire biomes are well balanced. That somehow they look hand-painted. And that's a chef's kiss. And that brings me to my main point. Why Wuthering Waves should stick to a fully stylized aesthetic. Because here's the thing, realism ages quickly. What looks realistic today might seem outdated in just a few years. As technology advances, higher resolution textures, improved lighting, and new rendering techniques constantly push visual fidelity forward. Games that lean too heavily on semi-realistic textures and materials can start to show their age when newer titles introduce more advanced graphics. Sometimes older semi-realistic games end up looking awkwardly detailed or even artificial as the industry moves forward. On the other hand, fully stylized art avoids this issue. Instead of relying on realism, it prioritizes artistic expression, which can stay visually appealing for decades. Stylized games don't have to worry about keeping up with the latest rendering techniques because their charm comes from intentional design choices, not pure technical advancements. That's why I really hope Kuro Games keeps Wuthering Waves fully stylized. This game has a unique identity, and I think it shines best when it leans into its artistic strengths, rather than trying to blend realism into its aesthetic. Anyway, that's just my take. At the end of the day, everyone has their own artistic preferences. Maybe you love the semi-realistic elements in Wuthering Waves. Or maybe you're like me and think the fully stylized approach gives the game a better aesthetic. Either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think? Do you feel like the semi-realistic textures add depth to the world? Or do you prefer the more painterly, stylized aesthetic? Either way, enjoy your time in Solaris 3. Peace out. Bye-bye.